Hey guys, it's Kate's Kitchen. Welcome back to my channel for more no fail, the easiest and most beginner friendly recipes you'll find in the internet. Today we're making the basic classic ooey gooey cinnamon rolls. So without further ado, let's go right ahead in the recipe. All ingredients will be listed down below in the description box. These ingredients should be easily found in your pantry, and we're starting off with lukewarm milk. It could be fresh milk, evaporated milk, anything you have. And we also have dry instant yeast and 2 large eggs. We also prepared softened butter that I like to cube up into pieces like this. Of course, it wouldn't be cinnamon without any sugar, and we have granulated white sugar. Of course, we won't ever miss out our all-purpose flour and our big mixing bowl. Here we will incorporate all our ingredients so we can easily pop it out of the stand mixer later after kneading the dough. First off, we're going to start with our lukewarm milk. Make sure your milk isn't too hot so we don't kill off our instant yeast. Just sprinkle it on top of the milk because we will be mixing it with our wooden chopstick together with the milk. I like using the wooden chopstick personally, but you can use a spoon. Anything is fine, either way. Next is to crack 2 fresh eggs on a separate bowl. This is to ensure that there will be no shells incorporated in our dough, and just to make sure that just in case if you have a spoiled egg, it won't spoil the whole dough mixture. Taking out our big mixing bowl, we're pouring down our milk yeast mixture, and I like to make sure I got every drop in there together with the 2 fresh eggs straight down the bowl. And of course we have our softened cubed up butter. This is what I actually like about prepping every ingredient we need, because we're just gonna end up having to put them all down in one bowl after. And of course, don't waste a single ingredient and put everything down there. This wooden chopstick is my best friend in baking. I like to use it to break down the ingredients. Moving on to the room where we have our stand mixer, I like to light up a scented candle on the side to kind of just put the mood on while baking completely. Now that we have that on the side, we'll be taking our paddle attachments for the stand mixer, and these are the 2 that we're going to be using. And first off, this white paddle first. I'll be attaching this on our stand mixer to just somehow incorporate the wet ingredients to our dry ingredients slowly. And while doing so, I love to check my notebook here for the recipe to just almost double check everything. And now that we're incorporating all our wet ingredients, we'll be then moving on with our dry ingredients and mixing it together slowly but surely. I like to take about 1/4 of a cup for every minute that it's been mixing in slow speed, and just slowly getting my way in there. And now just let your stand mixer do its thing and be patient for about a couple of minutes. Once it looks a little bit clumpy and a little bit put in together but not completely, just pour in all the remaining flour or dry ingredients that you have left. Mix it again, starting with a slow speed so you don't spill all your flour all over the place, and transition to a higher speed to medium. As you can see, this is the last batch of flour that we need to pour in there, so I'm just going to completely pour every bit of it in for the last kneading of the dough. Now that we're done pouring every bit of our flour, we're going to paddle mix this one last time before we switch with our kneading hook. Now that it's looking a little bit more solid and intact together, but still a little bit breakable like this, we're going to switch our paddle attachment to our kneading hook by this time. But of course we're going to need a little bit of help to take out all the dough from there. And just get a spatula like this to take it out. And once that's cleaned off, we're going to take it out to switch in with our kneading hook. And now we're ready for the next and last part of the dough, which is the kneading for about 6 to 7 minutes until the dough looks smoother. I like to knead this on a slow speed first, but as you can see, the dough is a little bit bigger for the bowl here, so it needs a little bit more strength, and I'll be transitioning this to a medium up to a high speed once we reach around about 6 minutes or so. You'll know your dough is almost ready once the mixer have cleaned up your mixing bowl and scraped out every bit of dough inside. I like to oil up our bowl before proofing it so that the dough don't get sticky and it's easier for us to handle it after. Just like this. And now we're just gonna have to cover it up for proofing. I like to use a clean plate. You can also use a kitchen towel if you'd like. And I usually put this inside the oven. Of course, it's completely turned off without any heat, and I just like to put it inside for proofing to ensure a warm environment for our dough. While waiting for the dough to rise for about 1 to 2 hours before it doubles in size, we're going to prepare our cinnamon filling, and these are the ingredients we'll be needing. We just need a couple of softened butter cubed up, and of course cinnamon powder, and as well as brown sugar. After an hour or two, you can check your dough from your proofing area to check if the size has doubled. And let's check our dough together. And here we have it. It's definitely doubled in size and so much bigger than before. Don't worry if your dough doesn't look as smooth as you want it to look, but all you have to do is to punch out the gas from it, and you can still work on this dough easily. Before shaping our dough into a rectangular shape, we need to prepare our filling, and we're starting off with our softened cubed up butter. And I like to use my spatula to kind of just soften it a little bit more so it's easier for us to mix the rest of our ingredients after. Now we have our brown sugar and dump it all into the bowl together with the butter. Now try to smooth this out as much as possible before you put the cinnamon powder on so it's easier for you to incorporate everything. Break it into pieces, or you can pop this in the microwave for about 3 seconds or so, just to almost melt it down, and not too melted, of course. And of course, for the last and main ingredient is our cinnamon powder. You can go crazy if you want it to be so strong, then you can add even more than I did for mine. Mix it all together until it's as smooth and as silky as this. And that's perfect. Now we're just gonna lay out our dough, and try our best to somehow mimic a rectangular shape, just like our baking mat right here. I'm using this baking mat to somehow guide me to mimic a rectangular shape, and I just like to cut down the pieces of dough that's beyond the point and just use it later. And now that we somehow magically managed to do all of that shaping, we're gonna take our cinnamon filling and spread it all over dough. And now that that's all smoothed out, we're just going to have to roll our dough and to cut it in about an inch or so. Now that that's a beautiful log of cinnamon roll, we're just gonna take our trusty dental floss to give us a really clean cut each. And now we're going to butter up a deep baking dish like this. You can use a Pyrex or anything that you have for your oven. And now all you have to do is to lay each and every cinnamon roll beside each other before we have to proof them again for just about 30 minutes or so before baking. And finally, after 30 minutes of proofing it again to double in size, this is what they look like, and we can finally bake them until they're golden brown. Let's put this inside the oven for just about 20 to 25 minutes depending on your oven's temperature, and I can't wait to get my hands on these. And now the waiting game begins, and just look at how that sugar, cinnamon is flowing and melting around the dough. Your house is gonna smell fantastic. And there we have it, our easy, no-fail recipe for cinnamon rolls. Trust me, if I can do it, so can you. Make sure to follow and subscribe to my channel for more easy, fail-proof recipes with Kate's Kitchen. Thanks for watching!